Hi YouTube, thanks for tuning in. Welcome back to another episode. First thing first, I want to get out of the way is, I know the last couple of videos I've been complaining about my handlebar, not my steering wheel, my handlebar being a little off center, and guess what? It is finally fixed. Mountain Motorsports Marietta have fixed it. The Roswell store was going way deep into the the opening up, checking the nuts and bolts down where the alignment is, and all Marietta guy did was saying that, hey, a lot of times when they put this bracket on which your handlebar and your gauges are mounted on, a lot of times they, in a rush, it'll be a little crooked when they tighten the bolts down. So you have to take the bolt out, move the whole assembly over just a tad bit, and he saw it just as clear as I was seeing it, so I wasn't going crazy, and he went ahead and tightened it down, and it's nice and straight. There was nothing wrong with the alignment. So anyway, so that's out of the way. You won't hear about that anymore, I promise. But yeah, what I want to do is talk about my buying experience from the Roswell store. Alright, so the buying experience has not been great. Now it could just be me. I know this is not a small company. They're a reputable company. They're a big company, Mountain Motorsports, but to be honest with you, I did not have a great experience, and I'm about to tell you why. And I must say that every time I've been to the Marietta store and the Roswell store, all of those guys are nice. They're all nice, but there was a mistake that happened that could have potentially not ruined me, but yeah, in a way it would have affected, it would have affected just about everything. My enjoyment with the bike, maybe my health, mental, everything. So, and it was a mistake done on their part. I'm not going to name any names because I think that's unfair, and because I do think it was an honest mistake and they are fixing it, so I will give them that much. But I'm not going to name any names. I'm just oh, there we go. I didn't even know my modular helmet wasn't clicked in all the way. So I'm not going to name any names, but basically I go in. I didn't realize it was literally the last day of the month. But anyway, I go in. A lot of times when you're buying a car or whatever, you always try to go to the last few days of the month to get the best deals. It's no secret. I mean, it's not a myth. It definitely helps. It may not work 100% of the time, but I can tell you that it definitely works in your favor if you've got all of your stuff aligned, your finances aligned, or your money aligned and everything, and it'll work out in your favor. So what happened? So I go in, I test ride the bike. All they wanted to talk about was, where do you want to be on the payment? And I said, look, man, let me just go ahead and test ride the bike first, and if I like it, we can discuss price and payment. I already know where I'm going to be. I've already been approved from my credit union, and I'm not worried about where I need to be on the payments. I'm more worried about if I would like the bike or if I will not like the trike. Sorry, I keep saying bike, even though this is classified as a motorcycle. Coming from owning two wheels most of my life, I guess I would also not call this a bike. I would call it a trike, reverse trike, but that's just a mouthful, isn't it? So, I was like, look, man, I want to be at X amount. And they're like, oh, X to X amount. I'm like, no, I didn't say X to X. I said X. And I already know I'm good there because I'm already approved it from my bank. Okay, cool. Finally, I get the test drive done. Everybody's nice and smiley and accommodating and running after you and all of that. And they want to make their numbers. And I get to test ride it. I fall in love with it immediately. I'm like, you know what? This is pretty cool. I like it. So I rode the Ryker 900 Ace and done. I was like, yep, let's do it, let's talk. So they had a special going on. The special was out, but because the ad wasn't down. They said they'll give me that special again, which was basically there was no discount on the bike. These things are too popular to give discounts on, plus they're kind of slowed down their production, so these things are, you know, gonna be even more rare on the road for at least the time being, till this COVID crisis, you know, starts to go the other ways. So anyway, so the deal they had was that they would not give the discount on the bike, but all the junk fees that they charge, which includes your, I wouldn't say it's junk fee, they do work on it, but I just calling it junk fees just for the sake of this video. But the charges that they charge, which is the freight charge and your destination charge, XYZ charge, ABC charge, you know, putting the bike together charge, all of that they were throwing it at my face was $1,500. And I'm like, that's a lot. Even for a regular bike, it's a lot, you know. And they said that basically they were not going to charge me any fees associated with the bike, with the motorcycle. What I mean by that is freight charges, obviously, the labor charges to put the bike together. I don't know what that's called. There's a certain phrase for it. And they weren't going to charge me any dock fees or any fees, except they were just charging me, I think, about $80 for my title fees. That's it. That's all they were charging. So, you know, that's a saving either way you look at it, you know. So I think that I would have come out the same way even if they were charging all of those junk fees. I would have told them to take them off the price. So, you know, give me a discount on the price. So yeah, so I think that promotion was there. I wouldn't say that, oh, you know how the first thing you hear on YouTube is, I got this new bike and I got a steal, I got a deal, I got a steal deal. Nah, you know, I just got a promotional deal. That's all there was. So if they didn't have this deal, I would be negotiating that same junk fees off the MSRP of the price, you know. So I just got what I expected to get. So all that is done. They run my credit in the meantime. They said, look, I can definitely, if you say what your credit is, I can beat your credit union score for sure. I said, okay, why not? I mean, they already pulled it once, it doesn't hurt. At that stage I said, go ahead and pull it. No, that's fine. So they did, and sure enough, they did. They beat my credit union by a whole 1% point. So I told them that beat means if I'm getting 4.5% doesn't mean you come back and say, hey, I've got you 4.3%. No, I'd rather go with the bank, and they put in the hard work. So yeah, they beat it by, matter of fact, they beat it by over 1 percentage point. So I think it was like 1.2 percentage they beat, which was good enough for me. And plus it was a BRP direct loan, so it was not like from some bank that was gonna, you know, that I haven't heard of or anything. It was directly from BRP Can-Am, so financial. So I said, awesome, that's even better. So everything is done, you know, they get these initials from me, this is what my payment's going to be and all that. And I said, great. I ordered some parts. We threw some parts in there too. I gave my down payment, and I ordered a lot of parts from them, like $1,600 worth of parts, which just sounds a lot, but it's only like 5 items, so it's not a whole lot. And so now that I go to sign the papers, you know, I'm asking a bunch of questions. Everybody's telling me, dude, that's the lowest rate for today I've seen all day, you know, and you have a decent credit or good credit, whatever. I said, great, man, that's good to hear. I signed the papers, and my carelessness, right, because every time I buy a car or anytime I buy anything, I always read over the fine print of what it says, just the figures, you know. Okay, this is what we agreed, this is what the payments are. Great. So I guess they have a different way of doing things. They don't make you sign anything that says this is your payments and all of that. It's just weird. So the guy who had the papers signed, had me sign the papers in his office, went over like, yeah, man, this is your thing. You want to add this? This is your payment. He wrote the payment down. I initialed it. We agreed, and he printed the papers. I signed, and I signed trusting what he was telling me is going to be on the paper. My mistake. Never made that mistake before, and I guess I got too excited, and I never will make that mistake again. What happened? So I go away. I said, get the bike ready. I'll come back at night. So I came back around 9:30, 10, and I picked up the bike, and the paperwork was left for me in the front of the bike. So I go home. Next day, I work at an auction. So next day, I'm totally slammed from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Don't get a chance for anything to even go over the paperwork or look at it. So I should have. But, you know, there's a certain level of trust involved that what you're signing, you know how when you go to a dealership they say, hey, so this is your payment, this is your interest rate, if you're good with this, initial here and we can proceed. So I did all of that. So I said, okay, so apparently there was a mistake made where my interest rate, when I read the paper, it said that yes, the term was correct, the number of months was correct, the interest rate was 8% higher than what we discussed. And my heart just sank. And the problem is, I went over all my paperwork like at 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night. Second big freaking mistake. I should have read it earlier. Anyway, I went over the paperwork. Now guess what? The store opens up at 9 o'clock on Saturday. It's Friday night. I can't go to sleep. So actually, it was not 10. It was like 12 o'clock, midnight, or 1 a.m. So now I can't go to sleep. Now I don't want to go to sleep because I can't. And I'm just beating myself up like, how the hell did I make this mistake, you know? And I even went over the price, the bill of sale and everything, and I was like, how did I make a mistake? First of all, the paper that made me sign didn't say this is your payment. It just said this is the interest rate and your payments are based on this balance multiplied by this percentage every month. And I want to show you, but it's got a lot of other information on it, so I won't. But I'll show you how small those writings are. I mean, you need a magnifying glass to read those. Anyway, I called the next morning. I said, dude, actually, I didn't even bother calling. I showed up at 9:05, 5 minutes after they opened. I walk in. I'm like, dude, this paperwork's incorrect. Everything's good. And I was still very positive, and I was just still trying to make it that I had, you know, like it was just a mistake. They'll fix it. No issues. And I said, man, the paperwork's incorrect. If you remember, you guys all bragged or made me feel like a king that day, telling me how low my interest rate was, and it was the lowest one you've seen for the day, and this and that. And they're like, yep. So, and I said, look at this paper, man. Shame on me, I didn't read it, but it's really not my mistake. You know, I signed it based on trust. And he looked at it and he just got all quiet and confused and apologized and said, I can't believe this happened. I'm so sorry. We'll take care of it. All right, cool. I left the paperwork. I left. I said, look, I'll call you. He said that we're closed Sundays and Mondays, so this will probably be be taken care of on Tuesday, and we'll call you. Sure. Now it's Tuesday. It's 4 p.m., 5 p.m. This is about an hour or two before they close, and I called back and I said, dude, I've been waiting all day, like patiently. What's going on? And now this is a different guy than the guy who ran the loan, right? This is now the guy who does the paperwork with you. And he said, I mean, I don't know if he just asked me the wrong way or rubbed me the wrong way, but he just in a different pitch, like, you know, a pitch like made me sound like, dude, you must be out of your mind, kind of a tone with me, and said, who told you about that rate that you got? I'm like, what? And I just basically I lost it. I tore him an asshole, basically. That's what happened. Maybe I didn't tear him an asshole, but it was getting close because he was telling me to calm down, or, you know, this and that. I said, dude, don't even tell me to have a calming reaction. The way you're asking me is, who the heck told me about this rate? I said, let me ask you one thing. I'm like, what was the first thing you said to me before you even said hello or shook my hand? What was the first thing you said to me when we walked into your office? I said, go ahead, I don't want to put words in your mouth. And then he told me, well, yeah, X% loan is the lowest one I've seen all day. Okay, so you're the one of those guys, first of all, who told me that, right? Okay, good. Secondly, XYZ name, I don't want to name names, the loans officer is the one who ran my loan. He's like, oh cool, that's what I wanted to know. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make it sound bad. I'm like, dude, ask me that who was the loans officer working with you on the loan. Don't ask me like, dude, you must be crazy. Who the heck told you about this percentage rate? Because it was a low percentage rate. So yeah, he's like, no, we're not in the business of screwing customers over. I'm like, dude, look at it from my side, all right? You know, I'm making the call here. No, you know, you guys made the mistake. You know, why am I calling or running after you? Anyway, the guy who did ran the loan called me immediately and said that, you know, I guess he was having a little bit of amnesia too, so you know, because these guys process a lot of loans, I get it. So I reminded him, and immediately that guy, now that guy is nice, even though he's the one who made the mistake. Immediately he acknowledged and said that is absolutely correct, and he was a little confused as to how that's happened. So basically, I'm sorry, I'm rambling along, but long story short, this is what happened to me, so I don't want this happening to you. I'm sure you guys are smarter than me, so I just want to make sure this doesn't happen to you guys. So long story short, the guy says, I'm gonna fix it, we're not, you know, this and that, and if it needs be, I will cut you the difference of, you know, whatever the amount is per month that you're paying extra because of that variance in your payment, monthly payment. I'll cut you that check and this and that. I said, look, whatever, we need to make it right, we need to make it right ASAP. And calls me back and says he made a mistake. He says that he thought he was looking at the BRP loan, but it was a different bank that was offering that low, really low percentage rate on all the new vehicles. I said, okay, I mean, and I said, whatever, man, I don't care which bank we go through, I just need my simple interest loan set up and ready to go. And so he said, yeah, I'm gonna try to help you out and see what I can do. I'm like, there's no helping me out. There is doing what we agreed upon, or me bringing the bike back to you, or you picking it up from me. He's like, no, we'll make it right. I'm like, yes, you will make it right. Otherwise, the bike, I want to make it clear, the motorcycle is yours. I will bring it back. He said he understands. All right, cool. So the next day he calls and running through numbers and this and that and blah, 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 blah. Comes back to me and says he got in touch with his, well, now he's been staying in contact with me multiple times during the day, which I like. So he's been following up and he's trying to fix his mistake that he made to begin with. And he told me that he got in touch with the BRP financial rep, their rep for the Southeast, and told him such a situation, and he assured me that he's going to try to get it done with the BRP financial. If not, he'll get it done with the other bank that we're good to go with anyways. But his first option would be to go with BRP financial. They're by Citibank, and you know, they're better, or whatever the case was, because I guess initially they had closed the loan with that for the wrong interest rate. So now he comes back to me and says, look, I can't do that. I said, well, I'm gonna give you back the bike. He said, look, but I have good news. I said, give me the good news, because I'll be the judge of what's good and what's bad. He said, look, you were running at max term and this was your payment with everything, you know. I said, yes. And he said that he can lower your term by 1 whole year, and the interest rate will go down further by 1 percentage point. Basically, they couldn't offer me, you know, the term I was looking for. They can offer me a term less, 1 year less, basically 12 months less. But the percentage I agreed to, they're going down by 1 more percent. So I said, okay, so what's the math come out to? And I looked at it, and the number where I was going to be, it came out to $15 more a month. So that is 1.5. So whatever I was paying on a longer term period with the interest rate. So for example, if I was going with 84 months at 4.9% interest rate, these guys came back and said, look, we can't do 84, but good news is we can do 72, and we can do 3.9% interest rate. And what that'll do is you'll shave off 1 whole year, and I'm just throwing out this, you know, theoretical numbers here. So you'll shave off 1 whole year, and your payments will only go up by $15 per month than what we discussed previously. It was a no-brainer. I said, that's fine, go ahead and do it. So they're now redoing the paperwork, and I am on my way back to sign the new paperwork at the Roswell store. And I told them, I said, dude, I'll tell you right now, I'm not pissed at you personally, because the fact that you've all, you know, the guy who did the loan made the mistake, and the other guy, the really smart talker, the one who made me sign, the one who sits with you to sign all the papers, didn't read it as well. So the guy who made the mistake, the original loans officer, you know, saw it through till the end. So I will applaud him on that, and I will give him a thumbs up, even though he made a mistake. But I did tell him that my experience was ruined, man, because I only had one question for him. I said, dude, what if I had not seen this the next day when it was fresh in your mind? What if I also was careless enough where when my first payment showed up a month or 2 months later, and all of a sudden I'm like, what the hell is this? And then I come back to you, I would have been screwed. And of course they didn't have an answer, but they said that they would have still made it right because they keep all the notes, you know, all the paperwork together of everything we signed manually or initial and all of that. I said that's cool, but that would have been a disaster then. I would have put miles on the bike and all of that. So what I'm trying to tell you, ladies and jelly spoons, is don't make the same mistake I did. Thank God that that is coming out to be a little better than before, where I've shaved 1 whole year off my original term, and with 1% less interest rate. And I'll tell you, I've never gotten this low on a brand new freaking car. So getting this kind of interest rate on a motorcycle, I was thrilled, on a brand new bike. So not only did I shave 1 year off, my interest rate went 1% down, and my payment only went up by $15, which is nothing when you're spending, you know, whatever you're spending. Going up 15 more, yeah, you're good. So I'm going back to sign the papers again, and you can be sure this time, I'm sure they will make sure they point out all the terms to me before I sign. But yeah, so, you know, end of the month, they rushed it. They didn't even properly get my bike ready for me. So yeah, it was a bad experience overall. But I will say this at the end, that the guy who made the mistake actually saw this thing through till the end. Thank God it's all good. So I just want to let you know that do not make the same mistakes. I know I've been rambling along and the story has gotten a little long, but I just felt I'll let you know that Mountain Motorsports experience is still bad. I have a bitter taste in my mouth, but I will say that the loans officer came through and took care of me. So props to him. He's definitely in my good books, but to be honest with you, a lot of other people are on my shit list, especially the parts guy, because you know what, the parts guy, I hate it when salespeople will say anything to you to make a sale and then have amnesia later on. You know what I mean? So the parts guy, again, I will not say who the guy is, told me that, oh yeah man, these BRP parts, Can-Am parts you're ordering, man, don't look at this retail price, we usually get them cheaper. It'll be cheaper for you if you order through us, and this and that. I'm like, awesome. I go back to him, I'm like, dude, what the hell happened? I didn't even get $1 off. You know, you were telling me everything's cheaper and this and that. You're like, well, some things are, you know. And then I was like, what, so all the 6-7 things that I ordered, none of those things were cheaper? Like, no, not those things, but some things are. I'm like, dude, I didn't tell him that to his face because I'm not that crass, but in my mind I'm like, dude, you're so full of shit, man. You're like, you'll sell your mother to make a sale, you know. And I hate that. And you know what, the funny thing is, I am a salesman, you know, and I never do that. I am never unethical like that. So anyway, you know, only person that did right by me was the original guy who made the mistake. Everybody else was just full of crap. And I don't think I'll ever be going back there again after I conclude my business there today. I'll be going back to the Marietta store, that's for sure. So anyway, boys and girls, sorry for the long video, but I thought I'd let you know what my experience was like buying the motorcycle, the Can-Am, which was left a little rotten taste in my mouth. But you know what makes up every time I think about that, and when I'm on this motorcycle, I get a smile on my face, and it makes up for all of it. So yeah, I appreciate you guys joining me. I'm almost at my destination, and until next time, guys, be safe.